Today we'll be talking about bottle feeding. 3 things you should do when doing bottle feeding. 1. You should always wash your hand before feeding the baby. 2. You should always sterilize the bottle and the equipment. 3. Never let a child feed a baby. So when you're doing bottle feeding, you can use the feeding from the container or you can use your breast milk. So if you're going to work or you're going somewhere and have to leave your child with someone and the baby still taking the breast, you can squeeze the milk from the breast and leave it in a container, and the person will give it to the baby based on the requirements or what they should do to feed the baby with the breast milk. Okay, so when you're mixing the formula, it is important to mix the formula according to what is on the container. Reason for this is it helps in development and growth in the child. If you mix the feeding wrong, then this can cause constipation in the child, and you don't want that. So when you're feeding the child, it is important that you sterilize the equipment and wash your hand, because you don't want the baby to be vomiting or you don't want the baby to get diarrhea. So this is the child that we are going to bottle feed. So when we are bottle feeding, it is important that we protect the baby chest. You can, if you don't have a dribbler, you can get a piece of cloth and stuff the baby chest or the baby's stomach to prevent it from getting wet, because you don't want the baby to have chest problem. So here I have the dribbler and I'm going to place it around the baby neck like this. So when you're feeding the baby, it is important that you have your receiver or your blanket. The reason why it's called a receiver is because it is used to receive the baby. It also used to keep the baby warm, and warm encourage growth and development. It is also used for burping the baby, and it also helps to prevent disease from passing from you, the person feeding the baby, onto the baby. So when you're feeding the baby, bottle feeding the baby, you should make sure that you position your hand like this to support the baby neck and the baby back, to cuddle or to cradle the baby, or you can place one of your hand between the baby leg like this to support the baby. This helps to prevent the neck injury in the baby and the injury in the back or the spinal cord. It helps to prevent scoliosis and back problem in the long run. So when you are feeding the baby, it is important that you pay attention to feeding the baby. You don't want to be paying attention to something else and you're feeding the baby. The feeding can come through the nose or through the ear, and it can cause infection. Also, you should not let the baby suck on the nipple. If the baby suck on the nipple, it can cause bloat or gas, and you don't want that in the baby. So it's important that you pay attention in feeding a baby. So when you feed the baby and the baby is satisfied with the feeding, you're gonna place the baby on your shoulder like this, and you're gonna rub it below the baby neck and between his two hands right here, and you're gonna burp the baby. So after you burp the baby, you should never place the baby on the back, or you should never feed the baby on the back. The feeder can come up through the nostril or the ears, and it can kill the baby. So if you have to go outside to do something after you feed the baby, you should place the baby on the baby right side. This helps in digestion, and it also helps to prevent gastric, and it also helps to prevent the feeder from coming up back. This is a next position in which you can feed the baby. This helps in bonding with the child, and it also helps eye-to-eye contact with the child.